Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkey and Ryan, brought to you by our great friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC here in Listowel, Ontario, and the Listowel Squash Courts. Ryan, Ryan, Chris, Clark. It is episode 1 of season 3. We're in season 3, Clarkey. Can you believe it? They're still putting up with us in 3 seasons.
That's what happens.
Very pleased.
That's what happens, Ryan. When you don't have a boss, you can just keep going. It doesn't matter.
You can just keep
We can't get fired. Right?
Exactly. Well, speak for yourself, but we're very pleased to be joined by a great special guest, a friend of this program, Mike Hogan, voice of the Argos, handles media relations as well. Hoagie, it's great to have you back on the show, man, and it's great times to talk about the Argos.
And you know, if you want to talk about firing, you've got the right guy. So there's that.
Well, I may need to consult you then.
Perfect. I can be bought. It's been great. Last time we spoke was in mid-season and everything was going well. We ended up winning the Grey Cup, and we've been even better out of the gate so far this year. So, if you work for the Argos or are a fan of the Argonauts, life is pretty good right now.
Yeah, they've been incredible. 9-1 as we speak here. And Mike, I mean, it's one thing to be 9-1, but in every single victory, they've scored 30 plus points. Like, they're winning in emphatic fashion, and quite a few beatdowns as well. Like, they're not just squeaking out victories here. They look every bit like they want to hold on with a firm grasp to that Grey Cup this year. Can anybody beat them? Because you look at the stats leaders, there's Argos littered all over them offensively and defensively. We'll touch on some of those guys, but like, in your mind right now, I know sure you're a little biased, but like, can anybody outside of maybe Winnipeg beat these guys? I don't think so.
Well, you can. I mean, it's a funny shaped football and weird things happen. And sometimes you have an off game at the wrong time of the season, and you end up going home earlier than you want. The start that the Argos have had has made things better in the second half, because we don't have to win that many games to clinch a playoff berth, which we can do this week with a win. And we play second place Montreal back to back, and if we win both games, we clinch the East in the middle of September. Which means we're one game away from going to the Grey Cup, which will make roster makeup very intriguing for the next couple of months as you try to keep everybody fresh and healthy, yet keep that continuity. But you're right. I mean, the one thing that I think has helped, and I know Clarkey goes to most of the games, is we are scoring that many points a game. And if we were 9-1 right now and winning 12-8, I don't think you'd have the same buzz around the city as a team that scored 31 points, like you mentioned, in every game except the game we lost, and that's when Chad Kelly got hurt early in that game. So every game that Chad has started and finished, we scored 31 or more points, including Labor Day in Hamilton, when the offense struggled all game long, didn't put up 350 yards of total offense, and scored 41 points, which makes no sense. There were no defensive or special teams touchdowns. It was 41 offensive points on a day where the offense struggled. So that's why I think people are having so much fun at Argo games. And again, going back, I know I'm on a roll here, but I don't want to forget this, because this is a neat stat. You mentioned I do the media stuff. Part of that is putting together game notes. And what I try to do is try to find stuff that's not in the mainstream. So I compared the 10-1 Argos of Doug Flutie in his first year to the 9-1 Argos of this year, and went back one game from the Argo start, so that we were both 9-1 at the time. This team has scored 4 more points than the Doug Flutie team.
Wow.
That's
impressive.
That is points a game.
Yeah, and last time we talked, you said it was in the middle of the season last year, and you know, we were talking about McLeod Bethel Thompson and some guy who no one really knew much about, Chad Kelly. Well, we found out how he was in the Grey Cup when he had to come in relief, and boy, oh boy, newly signed to a 3-year contract. This guy is on fire.
Yeah, it's funny. Like the diehard football fan who follows every brand of football knows who Chad Kelly was when he was at Mississippi State, right? Ole Miss. Sorry, Chad, at Ole Miss. He was a 2-time SEC, 1 first team, 1 second team, national championship with the community college. I don't know if you guys watched Last Chance U on Netflix. The first couple of seasons, I think 3 seasons, were based at Eastern Mississippi Community College, and Chad went there and won a national championship before he got back in and went to Ole Miss. So he's actually mentioned in the first episode. So yeah, like he's had success, and then he didn't have success in the NFL and did some immature things, a little bit of baggage to him. And since he's come up here, he realizes the gift he had because he was out of football after the Colts. He was back coaching in this little small town in Mississippi, coaching this community college team, junior college team. And now he's got this opportunity to play football again. And he said, I think it was Grand Island in the Buffalo area. He said, I haven't had this much fun since I was playing minor football at Grand Island. So like he's having a blast, and everybody's like doing all the right things. So Chad has been better than advertised. We knew he was going to be really good on the field. I don't think any of us expected this. But yeah, we were comfortable flipping him the keys to the car. And that's why we had no hesitation going into the season, where others weren't quite sure what to expect because they didn't know much about Chad other than, one meaningless game at the end of the season and a fourth quarter in the Grey Cup.
And, when you look at pro sports in general, like foundations are so important. And when you look at the Argos in particular, you got Pinball as the GM, you got Ryan Dinwiddie, who just signed a new contract as well, and Chad Kelly as your quarterback. That's a pretty good foundation moving forward, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And the guys on defense, basically all of them. It's funny because of how workmanlike this team is. You can have a couple of bad apples in a room and it kind of screws everything up. And the peer pressure in that room is so strong to be perfect every day. When Mike Clemens took over as general manager in 2019 at the end of the season, when Jim Popp was relieved of his duties, Mike came in on our first meeting. I was in a boardroom at Coca-Cola Coliseum, and it was all the football ops people. And he said, I want this team to be the most boring team in sports. And we all kind of looked at him, and he said, I want people to get used to us doing the right thing every day. And so far, so good. I mean, since he's taken over, 3 full seasons, a trip to the Eastern Final, a Grey Cup win, and now a 9-1 start. He's got, as you mentioned, the foundational players of this team are locked up. Curly Gittens Jr., long-term contract as well on offense. It's everybody who has anything to do with the organization is doing it at an exceptionally high level right now. Attendance is up well over 25% per game. We still have a hell of a long way to go, obviously, but we're getting there in an era where a lot of people are unable to have that disposable income. You see attendance down in a lot of sports and a lot of teams, and we seem to be bucking that trend, and it's because of a lot of hard work from a lot of people.
And back to the offense, but it's very strong throwing in and running. And we also saw the arm of AJ there late in that game against the Tiger Cats. They're having fun. Maybe it's boring off the field, which is good, but boy, oh boy, this team is having a lot of fun on the field.
Last 2 weeks, a 65-yard flea flicker for a touchdown. And then the next week, fullback, tailback, whatever you want to call him, running back option play where he throws a 20 or 30-yard touchdown pass, whatever it was. They're having fun. Yeah. And out comes the Thor hammer for the guy who looks more like Thor than any human being on the planet. For those who didn't see it, he brought the mythical or mystical Thor hammer out and pounded the ground in the hammer with the hammer.
Exactly.
And they're having fun, and it's a long season, and to see the guys this loose at the midway point when some teams are starting to get a little tense, getting close to playoffs, a little hurt, a little dinged up, these guys are having a lot of fun, and that adds to it.
And a big
Chad
game,
Kelly.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Clarkey.
No, go ahead.
Well, Chad Kelly, I mean, he's having more fun than anybody. He's third in the league in pass touchdowns with 18. He leads the league in rushing touchdowns with 7, and he's first in quarterback rating by quite a bit at 115.5. He has just been unbelievable. Another guy on offense, though, that I wanted to ask you a little bit about is a guy that has turned into arguably the biggest big play threat in the CFL. And that's Devaris Daniels. I mean, this guy leads the league in yards per catch, 21.8 yards per catch. That's obscene. And he's tied for the league lead by virtue of that big play nature in receiving touchdowns with 7. I mean, tell us about this guy, Hoagie, because he is doing some incredible stuff out there.
He's crept into the top 10 in receiving yards, and he has, I think, 29 catches, something ridiculously low like that. And the league leader, I think, has 80 at this stage. Like it's a ridiculous difference between first and where he is. But he's been that guy, and it's funny, when he came out of Notre Dame, he was a speed freak, right? He was that deep threat guy, and he's 30ish now, early 30s, and he's become more of a precise route runner. But now with Chad, all bets are off, and now he's using the speed that he does have, and it's combined now with 7 years of CFL experience. He's now able to just pick zones apart, and Chad's on the same page as him, and there's more of a willingness to go deep with this team. And Tavares was the beneficiary of that a couple of weeks ago. He had 3 touchdowns and 180 receiving yards. It's crazy, but he's just in that zone right now. And, he had another touchdown last week against Hamilton. He's just been that guy. He's gone from being a short yardage sort of red zone target into being a guy who can take it deep from anywhere on the field. He's having a blast, obviously. And all these years in the CFL, he's never had 1,000 yards, and I think he's on pace for 1,100 or so. So, he and Chad are seeing each other really well right now.
Yeah, I should say, Clarkey, go ahead.
I was just
going to point you wanted to make.
Yeah, well, Montreal this weekend, as you mentioned, they can clinch a playoff spot. And then you said, we'll have to see down the road about some personnel moves or adjustments as we move forward. But Coach doesn't seem to, in my mind, watching the games, like to take the foot off the pedal. He likes it down all the way. They're up big, and Chad Kelly's still going out there, taking all the reps. I hope they don't. I hope they just keep it going and only have one loss at the end of the season. But do you see things differently? Do you think they'll?
I do this year because we've already had all 3 buys this year, which is crazy. Before Labor Day, we've had all 3 of our bye weeks. Nobody else is close to that. So every team's going to be a little bit more rested than we are down the stretch. So I think that they do have to take that into consideration. Last year, they gave pretty well all of the starters the last game of the season off. Chad Kelly started for Mac. There were backup linemen in there, and guys who were kind of either fringe players or bench players were getting an opportunity to go out and play basically a lot more snaps than they would in the regular season. And then they had a bye after that. So again, it was well rested. They don't have that luxury this year. They don't have that bye in the middle of September or in October. So I'm curious. We were actually talking about that today at the office, trying to figure out what Dinwiddie's going to do, because there are options. Like, do you play your starters in every home game to keep everything good, and then you go into Saskatchewan later in the year, and Cameron Dukes is under center, and maybe when you play where else? I'm trying to think of where we are on the road. Let's say we're in Ottawa, and we've already clinched first place or on the verge of clinching first place. Maybe you give DeVaris Daniels or Curly Gittens the day off, or an offensive lineman, and get another one of the understudies a little bit more reps, just in case something bad happens down the stretch. You've got somebody with some game reps in there. So there are different ways to handle this. I don't know how Dinwiddie's going to do it, but it's going to be interesting to watch down the stretch.
So on note of Dinwiddie, because we've brought him up before, and Ryan, I mean, he's doing such a great job, clearly earning himself, as Clarkey mentioned, a well-deserved extension. Mike, you've been around a lot of different coaches, coaching personnel throughout your years, and seen a lot of different ways to operate and run a football team. What is it about this guy that makes him special?
It's neat because it's, I think you see this in every sport, but maybe football's even a little bit different because of the size of the staff. There are different ways to operate. And, Clarkey goes back, he'll remember pinball as a coach, or Adam Rita as a coach, where they were, just loose. They were just guys who were out there smiling when they wanted to. And, when it was time for business, it was time for business. I don't think Ryan Dinwiddie turns it off. He is type A football, and I think the players appreciate that because they know he's in there first thing in the morning. He's at the office at 5:30 when I'm getting up, looking at film, getting ready for practice. And that's him. I mean, he is wired 100% of the time. And, he's one of the most telling things I've seen, maybe the most telling thing I've seen all year was, I think it was the second game of the season. I think it was after the BC game where they had the 6 picks and 1 at home. And Ryan Dinwiddie went into the room, and I tried to get down to the room as quickly as possible after the broadcast. But I'm never in time for Ryan's speech. And this was on Argos.ca. Our team of videographers picked it up. And Ryan looked at the guys after the game and he said, "I'm really happy to say this is your guys' room now. I've done what I've had to." In other words, the culture that Pinball and me and the coaching staff have tried to implement, you guys get it. You're professional. You're buying in, and I trust you in the room. The bad apples that may have been in there have been weeded out. This is a professional team. I trust you guys. And I think from a player's perspective, I don't think you can hear any better words from a coach than "I trust you." And I think that has a lot to do with it as well. But that's, Dinwiddie's worked hard alongside Pinball and Vince Magri and Alex Russell and John Murphy. And that's kind of the personnel department and Pinball, and just tried to figure out what they need in terms of X's and O's and who the right player is with that personality to bring in. And, every box so far has been checked, because not only do they have some great athletes, but they've got some great guys with spectacular work ethics who are all very smart football players.
Mm-hmm. Before, I want to ask you a little bit about the Ticats, because there are a lot of Ticat fans in this area of the province. I know it's okay though. This Saturday though, against the Owls down at BMO Field is Purolator Tackle Hunger Day. Just tell us about the event, and of course it's special to you and I because of who was the main driving force behind it.
Yeah, and thank you for setting that up the way you did. Purolator Tackle Hunger has been going on for 20 years, raising money for food banks. And last week it was in Hamilton, and the proceeds and the food that's donated stays in the Hamilton area in that day, like every other team across the league. This week it's Toronto, and the food will be going to the Daily Bread Food Bank. We've been working with them quite a bit. We've had our players out there helping fill boxes and whatever else they need bodies for on multiple occasions this year. We wrote them a check for $75,000 this year. And this week there will be collection bins at every gate at BMO Field. The main one is gate 1, easy to remember because it's like the one. It's right by the Argo locker room in the northeast corner of BMO Field. We're going to have a Grey Cup there. If you make a donation, you can get your picture with the Grey Cup. Pretty simple. A couple of old fan favorites, Noel Prefontaine and Andre Talbot, both of whom won Grey Cups with the Argos. They're both going to be there signing autographs as well. So it's a great cause. And Chris Schultz was the spokesperson of that for a long time. Clarkey, I think you kind of unleashed him on me back in the 2005 season? No, it was.
I think it was before that.
It was 1993, you unleashed him on me. Then he came back and played a year and then retired. Yeah. And then I got stuck with him full time. But yeah, Gentle Giant, he was a spokesperson for 20 years when he was with TSN. And, he played with the Argos for 8 years and the Dallas Cowboys before that. In an era where there were no Canadians playing NCAA football. He was at a D1 school at Arizona, drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, started at left tackle for them. And, Schultze would give you the shirt off his back and not want anybody to know about it. But this was different with Purolator, and it was a really good relationship. He was a perfect spokesperson for it. And he would never, ever say how proud he was of something. But he was proud to be affiliated with that program. So Tackle Hunger means a lot to the people who know Chris Schultz, and Mark Schultz is going to be there to represent the Schultz family. That's Chris's brother, who is a fairly shy human being. So to get Mark out on the field that shows you how much Chris and Purolator meant to the Schultz family.
God, I missed that guy.
Incredible stuff. Yeah, nobody did it better than Schultz, and no one cared more than him. Incredible that the program's still going on. So if you see or hear this show before the Argo game, there he is.
Nice.
There he is, proudly displayed as he should be. If you see or hear this before Saturday's Argo game against the Owls, get down there and take part in Pure Later Tackle Hunger. Really important program that should be celebrated and participated in. I want to ask you, before we take a quick break and switch gears to talking about that other football league, which I know, and I know you're a big Eagles fan, it might be a good year for you, Hoagie. Before we do that, though,
down here, huh?
Look at this guy. That's a media relations guy. He is prepared. I might have
no, that's a fan. That's not a media relations guy.
I'm an Eagles fan. That's my me time, when I can watch a game and not have to think about anything other than if they're going to win or lose. Instead
I
of,
love it.
Does he have to do an interview afterwards?
Exactly.
I can just sit back and that's my little Zen time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that. We all need that. I don't know how much Zen time I'll get out of my Patriots this year, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, we're going to be clashing. Before we switch topics, though, quickly to just one more on the Argos to stick with them. Who would you say, because we've talked about some of the key guys that are involved here, of course, from the front office down, who would you say so far this year is the unsung hero of the Argos season so far on this roster?
That's a good one. I think a guy that doesn't get enough recognition is a defensive tackle. So by the definition, they're not going to get a lot of love. But a guy named Dwayne Hendricks. I don't know why he's in the Canadian Football League. I think he should be playing on Sundays. And he still may well do that down the road. He's a guy from Pitt who kind of went through the NFL ringer, and we're happy to have him. He's a spectacular guy, great work ethic. Very soft-spoken guy, but a very loud player. He doesn't get love because he's taken up two bodies in the middle of the field all the time, allowing guys like Flo or Imolade, or if they fire a Darius Pickett off the outside to come in and pick that up. But if there's an unsung hero, that would be one. And maybe on the offensive line, every player on the offense, or on the offensive side, everybody on the offensive line. They've only given up 10 sacks this year. The Argo all-time record is 18 for low. The Argos lead the league in fewest sacks allowed and most sacks, taken care of. They're plus 27 so far. They have 37 sacks and have only given up 10. That's insane. So the guys on each side of the line that get no love, it's, on offense, you're thinking Kelly and Oled, and you mentioned Tavares and Curley, and defensively, you think of Jamal Peters and the interceptions, or the guy that gets the picks. On this team, it starts and it's the offensive and defensive lines, and that line has given Chad Kelly time to hang into the pocket so those deep routes develop, and he'll find a guy. And if Chad has time, he's going to beat you.
Well, Hoagie, I'm glad you brought those guys up, because you know this, and any good football player, coach, analyst would always tell you this game is won in the trenches, no matter what. All the changes, more air. Yes, the passing game is much more pronounced than it's ever been, but the game is still won in the trenches, and those guys deserve all the credit in the world. They absolutely do. We're going to take a quick break. Hold on.
One question about the Ticats. I teased it.
Please.
We didn't. Watching the game on Monday, it just looked like Orlando Steinauer looked dejected. And I guess that happens, but losing your starting quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell, who they acquired in the offseason, and obviously wanted to run this offense around him, is a big blow. But is this team as bad as they looked on Monday?
It's they didn't look good.
No.
And the thing is, I looked up the number today and it astonished me. I think it was like 11 points or so that they've scored in the first quarter this year. Total. We had 17 against them in the first quarter. I don't know what it is. Obviously, when you put that kind of money into your quarterback, you're building your offense around him. And then when he went down, they brought in Matt Schultz, and their second string quarterback got hurt. So now they're playing a third string rookie, and that's tough on any team. They've still got some players, man. I mean, my former broadcast partner, Natea J, used to think that I had shares in Tim White, because I just love watching him play. I think he's fantastic. Butler, their running back, is is something else. I mean, they've got the pieces there. They still have a fairly stout defense, even though they gave up 41. But, you know, you kind of look at that and go, how the hell did they give up 41 when you look at the numbers against them? The total yards were fewer than 350. So there are some pieces there. They've had some problems. Their kickers have been inconsistent. Both guys have left camp, and I don't know what's going on down there. But Orlando Steinauer is a spectacular coach and a better guy. And, you know, I have all the affinity in the world for that coaching staff. Scott Milanovich there now, taking over, who, again, I think the world of. He was the Argo head coach in 2012 when they won a Grey Cup. And I think Jeff Reinbold is an evil scientist as a special teams coach. There is no coach, I think, in the league I enjoy watching put his evilness into play than Jeff Reinbold, unless it's against the Argos. But, you know, you never know what they're going to do on special teams. So it's been a curiosity, but they've got a half a season left. They could fix that, and they could be a hell of a handful by the time playoffs start.
Yeah, I certainly think so too, because, yeah, it hasn't gone right for them, and obviously such bad luck with the injuries. I mean, 2 QBs going down, that's going to kill any football team, but you're right. I still think that they've got enough there to potentially turn this thing around. We'll see. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, as promised, Hoagie's going to stay on with us. Mike Hogan, voice of the Argos, he's going to stay with us. We're going to chat some NFL football. I can't believe it. It's here. That's next on Instigating. Back here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, the first episode of our 3rd season. Ryan Drury here alongside Clarkey, and we're pleased to still be joined by our great friend Mike Hogan, the voice of the Argos and director of media relations for the Argonauts. Great CFL chat in that first opening segment. Now we'll move south of the border, the NFL season. As we record this, kicking off, Kansas City hosting Detroit, the Thursday nighter, and then of course a full slate of games on Sunday and the Monday nighter as well. And Hoagie, let's start with the team, your beloved team, your Eagles. Boy, they came oh so close last year. Of course, Patrick Mahomes just getting the better of them. Yes. I know. Hey, the Eagles nicked my guys too that one year. All right. But they turned around and won the following season, and I think you guys can do the same thing. All right. I really do believe that Philadelphia has an excellent shot, and I don't know if you want to hear this either, but I do think that they have an excellent shot at making the Super Bowl and winning it this time. They are my pick in the NFC. I love what the Eagles are all about. I love what Jalen Hurts is all about. I took him in my fantasy league. I think he's going to score me a bunch of points. What's your outlook on your Eagles? Because they might be flying all season long.
Yeah, I think top to bottom, it's a better team than it was a year ago. I think the defensive line is going to be good. I mean, Jalen Carter, 9th overall, really? Like maybe the best guy in the draft. The first play in a preseason game simply took his arms and moved a Minnesota offensive lineman to the side. He just went, boop, and went in and pressured the quarterback. He's crazy. So I think, we'll see. I'm curious to see a fairly local guy to all of us in Sidney Brown from London, who played at Illinois. He might be in line to start on Sunday, so at safety. So as a rookie, that's a pretty big order. But on our show on TSN, Gridiron Nation, we focused on Sidney and his brother Chase all year last year. And we've got a pretty good handle on how good he can be. And as an Eagle fan, when they drafted him, I was beyond tickled, because I'm maybe the president of the fan club. So I think they're going to be okay. The offense is going to score a hell of a lot of points. The offensive line, it was great that they got Kelsey back at center. And, I think a lot of people thought he was going to retire. They've got a deeper offensive line this year, and it was probably the best one in the league last year. They've added some running backs. You get one from Detroit, one from Seattle. So it's a good looking offense, and can they outscore everybody? I think they can probably win more games by scoring fewer points, although the offense may score more points than it did a year ago, just because I think the defense is going to be a little bit better.
I do wonder if maybe they can go with a little bit more of, depending on the opponent, a ground and pound approach here and maybe save Hurts's legs a little bit because, you're going to let that guy kind of do whatever he wants. He's an artist out there. He can kill you with the legs, but he really took a huge stride forward, I would say, with his arm, which was a bit of a concern his rookie year. And he really, quieted a lot of doubters, including myself. As I mentioned, I took him in fantasy this year. I believe in him that heavily. He will be my quarterback. But I wonder, you mentioned adding DeAndre Swift out of Detroit and really varying their ability in the run game. I wonder if maybe they will try and save Hurts from escaping the pocket as often as he did last year, which, hey, worked great. Look, they went to the Super Bowl, but I wonder if they take a different approach and just try and conserve some more hits against him for playoff time with this well-rounded rushing attack.
At the end of the season last year, he was sliding. He wasn't taking those or initiating those hits. I think they will do whatever the opponents give them. Last year in one game, I forget who it was against, but they had over 300 yards rushing as a team, and then the next week they had 400 yards passing. They can do both, and that's the beauty of this offense, especially when you have a guy who runs the run-pass option offense as well as Hurts does. He's truly a triple option threat because he can run, he can pass, and he can throw on the run, and he can pitch the ball. Like, he's just, you never know when he's going to get rid of the football. He's a savant in terms of his football IQ. He picked up the pro game extremely quickly. He's like Chad Kelly with us, and because he's in there and as a type A football guy, and it's just all he does is think football. And I saw an interview with him. I said, "What do you do in the offense in the off season?" He said, "I tried to get better." Like, it's, it wasn't all I went to, the Bahamas for a week. It was, I tried to get better. And that's him. He's married to his iPad, and you want to see that out of a quarterback, and some guys just take it to another level, and it sounds like Hurts is that guy.
It certainly does. I mean, and I've just been so impressed with his evolution, like I mentioned, and the receiving core basically all back. Goddard's coming back. I mean, they have a very well-rounded attack. They showed it off last year. I don't see a big dip at all this year. That's why they are my favorites in the NFC, despite what the 49ers can bring to the table. Yes, but can Brock Purdy do it for a full year? A lot of question marks there. There are going to be some teams taking a step back. I got to say, I'm a little scared of Seattle. I think Seattle surprised a lot of people last year. I think that they could take a step forward. They've added some great young players. As you look over, let's assume that, my faith in your Eagles flying to the Super Bowl again comes to fruition. Who scares you in the AFC? Yes, the Chiefs are always going to be involved because of Mahomes, but they've taken a bit of a step back too. Guys have departed. Travis Kelce has this knee injury to start the season. Who over in the AFC scares you a little bit?
Because of their quarterbacks, they scare me a lot. The Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, and the Chargers.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, because I think they can score with anybody. And, maybe Cincinnati. If Cincinnati can keep Joe clean and keep him on his feet, that might be the team to beat in the AFC. It's tough to get back to the dance 3 times in a row. So you just think out of the odds not being in their favor, maybe this is the year that the Kansas City stubs its toe a little bit at some point. But if there's a team that's there that's probably going to unseat them, in my view, it would be Cincinnati. They seem to be doing everything right there. And a lot of offensive weapons for Burrow to get the ball to. And if they get any play out of their offensive line, I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah, Cincy scares me, and I think that they might have one of the deepest receiving cores in the league. I mean, you look down that lineup, Jamar Chase might have an unbelievable year. I mean, he could get 20 touchdowns. That guy's a freak. Boyd, all of those guys mixing. And I'm glad you brought the Chargers up too, because they're kind of my dark horse this year. Like, they really disappointed me last year. They stubbed, you say stub your toe. Did anyone stub their toe more than the Chargers in big moments? No. Yes, they had some injuries, but they're my dark horse. I believe in Herbert. I want to ask you before we let you go, Hoagie. You said it. You're the president of the Eagles fan club. So I genuinely wonder, because I like to kind of canvas guys that have been watching for a long time. Who is your Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia Eagles? Who would you put up on that 4-piece mountain?
In terms of favorite players, or what are the
your favorite guys? This is about you. Who are your guys?
The George Washington position on Mount Rushmore would be Brian Dawkins, and it's not really
like
close.
That.
Although the Brian Dawkins, for those who don't know, is safety, did everything you could want on the field, got more out of his. He was a talented guy, got more out of his talent than anybody. Was a team leader, and was just that guy you could tell, bled green and just put everything out on the field. I think Jason Kelce has moved into the number 2 spot.
Wow.
Offensive linemen don't get a lot of love. I've never seen a center get to the second and third levels as quickly as he does. He's crazy good. And if you've never seen his speech after the Super Bowl, when he was wearing the Mummers costume, which is a parade down in Philadelphia, it is epic. It's not suitable for work, but if you want to see a guy play to a fan base that wants a blue-collar guy drinking beer, that's Jason Kelce. Who else would I put up there? Wow, that's a tough one. I will give some love to a Canadian, Mike Shad,
nice.
who played at Queens and is from Belleville. He was a first-round draft pick of the Los Angeles Rams back in the day. Didn't work for him there. Buddy Ryan picked him up, started him at guard, and he was a Sports Illustrated All-Pro one year for a guy who was, quote-unquote, a bust in L.A. He still lives down the Philly area. And when he was there at the bottom of the stage, they had alumni there for the parade, right at the bottom of the Rocky Steps. And Shad sent me a picture of him with the Lombardi Trophy that day from the pit. So that was great. So who would I know I'm going to say somebody. I will go with Harold Carmichael, a 6'8" receiver from the late 70s, early 80s. One of the reasons that I became an Eagles fan and stayed an Eagles fan was that. I should put a running back. When I became an Eagles fan, it was because a quarterback named Roman Gabriel was traded from the Rams to the Eagles, and I was a Roman Gabriel and Rams fan, and I followed him to the Eagles. And one of the reasons why their running back at the time was named Mike Hogan. So I should put him on Mount Rushmore just for real. I'll put Mike Hogan as my 4th guy on Mount Rushmore, because that's the only way a Mike Hogan would become a Mount Rushmore guy with the Eagles.
I love your picks and some old school ones in there too. And yeah, I mean, Brian Dawkins, geez. I mean, you talk about dominance defensively, he is arguably for a few years the best at his position. Him and Ed Reed going back and forth. My goodness. And I don't think I've ever seen a safety hit harder than him. That dude leveled people.
When he went to Denver at the end of his career, like he was done in Philly, sadly, but he still thought he had more left. So he signed in Denver. And they played in Philadelphia that year. There was no way I was going to miss that game. Went down, and I'd say 85 to 90% of the jerseys there were Brian Dawkins jerseys. There were home, there were road, there were throwback, there were third jerseys. I sat next to a guy in a Clemson Dawkins jersey. There was a Pro Bowl jersey a couple of rows in front of me. Like, it was just totally represented. That fan base loves Brian Dawkins as much as any fan base loves any player in any sport.
100%. Hey, say what you will about Philly. They love their guys. When someone becomes a guy in Philly, they're a guy. And that fan base will really, really go to the wood for you. And Mike, you go to the wood for us every time we call you, man. It's such a pleasure to have you. Nobody's funner to talk football with than you, my friend. Thanks for doing this.
Anytime. Absolutely. Anytime at all. Thank you for
I don't want
the opportunity to talk some Argos.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I got to tell you this. Being down at the first game this year, by far the best giveaway to fans entering a stadium was this.
Oh, you got it on.
Yes.
You know what?
Unbelievable.
Okay, what surprised you about it?
So heavy.
Bingo. This is not cheap. These are spectacular rings.
Yeah.
And
Do
you
you
can
have
get
yours
them for $25 right now on Argonauts.ca. There's
a
still some
bargain.
available.
And do you have yours handy?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I should have.
That's what I was going to say on the spot. But
they're pretty close. Like,
they are, eh? Okay.
Yeah, it's ours are a little bigger, but it's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it's the little blue wave on the side, and like it's when I saw everybody when we saw these went, oh my God.
Yeah.
And like there's an inscription on the inside of ours, something Sean Oakman used to say every once in a while, and like even the replica have the ring on the score on the side, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The
so
detail is unbelievable. It really is.
So I'm glad. Yeah, we've done a lot of right things this year, and we try to treat our fan base as well as any because they have been so loyal through the years. When sometimes it hasn't been easy being an Argo fan in the city of Toronto. Our fans have been right there, and we see them getting more in number and younger. And we're just introducing more people to a hell of a fun sport and a great team and a dynamite venue to watch a game. And we're going to do it again Saturday at 1:00. So a chance to clinch his playoff spot. And if you're watching or listening and you're in the Toronto area or just want to come to the GTA for an afternoon of fun, pack up the kids and come on down and watch some Argo football.
And save a half 100%. Hour for us, Grey Cup week to preview the another win. Yes. It's in Hamilton, isn't it? It's in Hamilton.
It's in Hamilton.
Perfect.
And if we go there, whoever comes out of the East this year is the home team. So that would mean we would be in the Ticats locker.
Perfect. Love it.
The good stuff. Yes, a great franchise, great winning times right now, great giveaways. Get down there for the Purolator Tackle Hunger Day as well on Saturday. And hey, a pretty great voice behind it all too. Mike Hogan, thanks for doing this, pal.
Brian Clarkey, anytime. You know that.
Thank you. All
right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, lots to talk about. More NHL deals getting signed. The Jays turning things around. Was I too overreactionary? We'll talk about that next here on Instigating. Back to wrap things up here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Thanks to our great friend Mike Hogan, voice of the Argos and director of media relations for the team. Again, if you see or hear this before Saturday, that would be September 9th. Get down there. They're taking on the Owls. Big East Division matchup, and it's the Purolator Tackle Hunger Game. Bring some food items down there. Donate. It's a great cause. Clarkey, boy,
22 degrees and sunny. 22 degrees and sunny.
It's going to be perfect.
What a hot week it was here in southwestern Ontario. Or Midwestern Ontario. It was so hot. You know what else was hot? The deals at Larry Hudson's were hot. My God. Very hot. The deals were hot.
Yeah.
We still have the demo deal going on. $7,000 off the demos. There's still some supply. And there's some nice trucks at a very reasonable price. So come on down to Larry Hudson's, 1000 Wall 70 North in Listowel, or give me a call at 1-800-350-3325. Of course, you can see all those trucks at larryhudson.com. But if you have a sales rep, go see them. If not, come see Clarkey like Bill Drury did. Still loves his Malibu. But yeah, hot deals and hot weather all week. It's really good. And the other thing too is it's our third season. The men's league at Listowel Squash Courts is starting up again. A box league, not a ladder league. So we can't have Jacob's Ladder. We've switched gears to a box league. Little different. I had some physio today on my foot. I was given the clearance to start to resume action. But now my physio guy said, give it one more week, and I'll be back on the courts. And
you're Travis Kelce.
You know what that means, right? For the rest of the rest of the suckers there, they better pull up their socks. That's all.
Okay, dude. That's great. Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I'm going to start playing an annual game with Al, our friend. An annual weekly game with our friend Al.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not going to just play him once a year.
No. Yeah. Annual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A weekly game.
I feel like I play once a year. So I'm an annual athlete, but now I'm going to become a weekly athlete.
Here's the other thing too, though. I was told I had to take it easy to start and no pushing things and everything. So maybe you and I should go over and play because, I could.
We can do that next week. Next
play
Tuesday,
you left-handed, probably.
I don't know about that. I'm a pretty good tennis player. I know it's a different sport, but I can throw a racket around, dude. So just you wait.
Okay.
Also,
speaking of throwing rackets around.
Dude, okay. Well, first of all, I just want to, because off your brilliant throw, the weather throw, I got to say, one of your finest moments. You should have been a 50s ad man. You were born too late. You know what else was hot out there, folks? The deals down at Larry Hudson Chevrolet. You, dude. It's great. It's great.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was fantastic, man.
The deals are hot, man.
The deals are hot down here at Larry Hudson. I gotta tell you.
Oh boy. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep going here.
I gotta tell you, dude. And I'm sorry. And this is totally I'm crying through my glasses right now, man. I'm sorry. I gotta tell you too, and it's just gonna be even dumber because it has nothing to do with sports. But speaking of heat, I just bought the greatest thing I've ever bought since my custom coffee maker, dude.
Which would be hot too. The coffee maker would be hot.
It's hot, dude. It's hot, but not as hot as this thing. I've been in your kitchen, and I don't know if you do have one of these. So correct me if you don't, dude. Do you have an air fryer?
I knew you were going there.
Dude.
So here's the deal. My oven, it has an air fryer built in. I have an air fryer button on my oven.
Really? Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were that advanced. Okay. I mean, we did put a man on the moon. So, dude, I was like, okay, I gotta have one of these. Kate's brother made me hot dogs in one the other day, and I was like, I need one of these, man. It was the perfect dog, a juicy jumbo. See you later. I was like, I need this air fryer, and so I went online. Was like, I gotta see, like, maybe they're on sale. Sure enough, they were. I got like a $230 air fryer for $90.
Whoa.
A 5-liter one too.
That's a hot
like
deal.
Dude. I made pierogies in it.
Yeah. Like frozen ones, you just throw them in and
dude,
they crisp up and they're good, eh?
Yeah. So that you toss the frozen pierogies. Like there's no preheat on these things. Like
no, you
incredible.
put them in, yeah.
You put stuff in there and it comes out perfect. You toss the pierogies in a bit of oil, you throw them in there in a layer. Good night. I couldn't believe how unreal this was, dude.
Well, that's good.
And if Paderno air fryers want to sponsor this show, I can't say enough good things, dude. Okay. Now I mentioned that, we had hot dogs in one that inspired me to get it. You eat hot dogs at the ballpark. Maybe things turning around like my air fryer life for the Blue Jays. Now, I would have preferred.
Why? Because they beat the Oakland A's? Come on.
Now, listen, I know. But it's not so much what the Jays did recently against the Rockies and A's. And yes, ideally, would you like sweeps or at least one sweep there against horrifically bad teams?
Yeah.
Yes, you would. And as we record this on Thursday, the 7th, they're going to head into a 3-pack against Kansas City. They got to sweep Kansas City. However, maybe not, because again, it's not so much what the Jays are up to. It's what the Texas Rangers are up to. Oh my goodness. A team who has spent $500 million on their roster the last couple of years, Simeon coming in there and all those guys, man, oh man, they are soiling themselves down the stretch here. That last series against state rival Houston, they got leathered. I think they lost 14-1, 14-3, and 12-4, something like that. They got stapled by the World Series champion Astros. And man, if they continue free falling like this, the Jays, who, as we record this, sit half a game above those Rangers in the final wild card spot. And here's where the season literally might come right down to it, Clarkey. 3-pack coming up here against KC, and then a 4-pack against those Rangers. They got to take 3 of them. They gotta take 3 from the Rangers and staple themselves into a good push down the stretch. I think they got to play the Yankees again, which, I mean, the Yankees are whoa. They haven't been this bad since 95. They're a disaster.
It's a shame.
Maybe they can squeak in, and God, they better, because again, I stand by what I said. If they miss the playoffs, they'll be the most disappointing Jays team of all time. And man,
part of me wants them to miss the playoffs. I really do. Part of me wants them
points.
Like just so maybe they get rid of the Atkins Shapiro duo. I don't know.
I don't think
Shapiro's
never have going anywhere.
No, well, that's what people are saying.
It.
He's running the ship no matter who has the title of general manager. He's running the ship. There's no question about it in my mind.
Oh, I think everything goes over his desk.
Like Seattle, who has one of those spots right now. They have a tough schedule coming up. And if the Jays in a perfect world get that 3rd wild card spot, they play the Twins. And those other 2 teams, Seattle and whoever, Houston or Texas or whoever it would be, it'd be Tampa, would have to play each other. The 3rd spot this year in those wild card standings has the best track to the American League Divisional Series. They really do.
It would be very interesting, and I would like their chances against the Twins, of course, but got to get there, guys. And man, Vladdy, I'm getting sad, dude. I have him in my fantasy league, and overall, my team's great. My team's great.
Not that good.
He was my first pick. I took him 6th overall.
No,
and he has saddened me. Thank God for Pete Alonso playing for me at first base as well. Because man, oh man, Vlad is making me sad. I don't know if you realize this, Clarkey. Vlad just set the record for most ground into double plays or just hit into double plays.
Yes, I know.
Before the age of 25 in Major League Baseball history. Now, let's get this out of the way. A caveat here obviously is that he was good enough at 2021 to be in this league. A lot of guys don't start playing in this league till they're 24, 25. So yes, much more opportunity than guys who are 25 or older coming into league to hit into double plays. And if you look down the list, I mean, there's a lot of great names on there, Al Kaline and go down the list. There's some all-time greats on there, but just why does he have to be the one that has the record? I believe it's 89 now as we record this. Man, the grounding into double plays this year has been obscene. And I'm struggling, and I want to pose this to you. Do you think he'll ever hit 40 bombs again? And I know to some that's probably a wild question to ask because he is what?
That's 20... an embarrassing question to ask.
Do you it's an embarrassing question?
Yeah.
What happened to this guy?
Like there should be no question this guy can hit 40 home runs in a season. But to even ask the question is embarrassing to him. And
he doesn't even have 30.
I know. I hear you. Yeah, I think he will. I think he's got to get better. He's got to get better. And I don't know where the problem is. I don't know if it's mechanics. I don't know. I really don't know. But
mechanics, approach,
his
teammates around him that don't set him up well sometimes. Yes.
Well, but his teammates have nothing to do with him grounding into double plays. Unless it's like
I understand that.
In front of him. But well, anyway, I don't know. And then Alek Manoah, another setback for Manoah. So dude, that's not good either.
I respect the guys. I don't even want to speculate here.
No, I'm not speculating. I just said a setback.
And the privacy here, but yeah, like he's not even with the Bisons right now. They've put him on administrative leave, I believe. And I just hope the kid's okay, man. We've ragged on him and all the hitters that have, not performed the way they should this year. And Manoah, after coming off of being nominated for a Cy Young, has crashed back to earth. It's been a tough year. Yes. But I just hope the kid's okay, man, because I like the kid. I think he's a big dog, and he likes 100%. To go out there and compete. He seems like a fun kid, and I just want this kid to be all right. I want him to do whatever it takes to get himself right and come back next year and start ripping sliders at guys' knees again. I just want this kid to be all right, because he's a fun kid to watch when he's slinging it, man. And last year, he was great.
I just hope they're taking the right approach. That's all I hope. I just hope for everything that is surrounding this story. I just hope they're taking the right approach. Was the right approach? Like, he didn't pitch bad. Like, he pitched a couple of good games after his recall from Florida.
In Detroit.
I just hope they're doing the right thing. That's all.
Me too.
I just hope, as a person too. You know what I mean? Like, not even talking about a baseball player as much as I hope they're doing the right thing for Alek Manoah.
Me too.
And
quickly,
putting a guy in
notes.
Buffalo isn't usually a good sign for anybody.
Okay.
In any sport.
We apologize to our friends in Buffalo. I think it's a cool town. All right. A couple quick notes. Obviously, Jake Sanderson signing a giant deal with the Sens. They're banking on all these young guys. They're signing everybody. And on one side, you look at it and say, everyone's staying. Everyone is staying.
They're rolling the dice.
That
though,
never happens. They're rolling the dice on some of these. Timmy Stützle and Tkachuk, those are slam dunk players. No problem. I love Shabbat. I love Chychrun. This Sanderson kid, really good. Boy, I hope it works out for them. Over $8.05 million when the deal kicks in. I like the kid, a highly, highly touted prospect. But it's interesting. Do you think the Sens make the playoffs this year? Korpisalo in goal. They bring him in. They bring Chychrun in. Do you think they can make it? I think they get in.
I think they can make it.
Team.
I think they can make it for sure. I think the most interesting team in the East this year is going to be the Boston Bruins. Just to see what happens to the team that set the record for most points in a regular season last year.
I think it's Buffalo. I think Buffalo's the most interesting team.
And I agree. Buffalo is on the way up. I'm just saying.
I know what you mean.
Take a huge, huge fall from grace.
Who's playing center, man?
Disgrace.
Jeez. Who's playing center?
I know. So we'll have to see what happens with Boston. But Ottawa
has got some work.
If Ottawa and Buffalo make the playoffs, who doesn't? Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They didn't make it last year.
Well, they didn't make it
Florida.
last year. I don't think they'll make it this year either. I think Florida will still make
Islanders.
it. I don't
Rangers.
think the Isles make it. I actually think the Rangers could miss. I really do.
Well, if
the Rangers are either going to
continue his downfall.
The Rangers will either win their division or not make the playoffs. There's a hot take for you. Sorry to our friend Johnny Lazarus. That's how I feel. They're so boom bust.
Yeah.
Like they, and they're old too.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what?
Interesting.
It was a hot week, and this was a hot show. It was good.
It was good, man. It was good. Season 3 off with a bang. It's going to be incredible. Obviously, good news as well. Finally, PWHL, Professional Women's League, a really united front. It's fantastic. Great player signings going on right now. The draft's coming up. We're going to get somebody on very, very soon to discuss this new league.
And I know
your old buddy Berkey.
You sent me the message. I'm working on him. I haven't got a hold of him yet. But
Berkey is one of the directors. I mean, he's the head of the whole thing up there. It's really, really needed and an impressive and great step for professional women's hockey. We're gonna have some great guests in the future to discuss the new PWHL.
Yes.
We really appreciate Mike Hogan, the voice of the Argos, the director of media relations, for coming on this week and discussing the Argos, CFL, hot guest, absolutely, and the NFL. Good luck to his Eagles this Sunday against my Patriots. Take the Patriots on the spread. Take the Pats on the spread, guys. We can still play defense. It's a hot betting tip for you there. Thanks to our great sponsors, Larry Hudson, Chevrolet Buick GMC here in Listowel.
Hot deals.
The Listowel Squash Courts. Hot play over at Listowel Squash Courts. How about that? Unbelievable. We appreciate you guys listening and watching. You can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 with our friends on Whiteman TV. That's channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9 p.m. Follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. Find the podcast version on all your favorite podcast apps. Season 3 off with a bang. More Instigating next week. It's hot.